Have you ever felt the fear of missing out or had a memory blank when thinking about what real-time strategy games you should play now or would like to dive back into for pure nostalgia's sake? Well, we're going to go through a list of the top 25 most significant RTS games ever made. Some of these are not the smoothest or easiest to play nowadays, but every entry has a uniquely striking character, was groundbreaking at release and changed the genre forever, or is just plain superb in every way, no matter when, where, or how you play it. In the case of franchises with multiple entries, I will be including just the most relevant of the bunch to avoid having a list of just Command & Conquerors and Age of Empires, basically. So here we go in chronological order of release. The Ancient Art of War. This is the first game I ever played that had real-time strategy and tactics put to PC gameplay. It included, as far as I'm aware, the first example of a rock, paper, scissors unit combat system with 4 unit types available: knights, archers, barbarians, and spies respectively. A varied set of opponent generals, in personality and strategic styles both, combined with a series of historical battle scenarios you could dive into to either replicate or reverse historical outcomes. Can you outgeneral Caesar or Napoleon? Well, here you can find out. Populous, the first God game. The rather innovative isometric interface and mana accumulation mechanics to use your deity powers was a breath of fresh air that has not often been replicated and not topped to this day in many a gamer's opinion, outside of the Populous and Powermonger franchise itself, of course, to which there are a few sequels, all very much worth a look at. If you plan to ever finish the game, however, good luck. It's 500 levels long. It's all about the journey, not the final destination. Dune 2. An excellent adaptation of a classic literary sci-fi universe and an almost complete template of the basics and staples that RTS games would use for decades. The minimap in the corner, a scenario linking levels together in a campaign, between-level animated interludes with advice and synopsis, the sidebar with building construction and unit action buttons, an in-game encyclopedia explaining concepts and game objects, multiple playable factions, and resource collection, etc. You name a general characteristic most RTS share, and this game was the likely seminal example for it. Cannon Fodder. A RTS shoot-'em-up mashup in which you control a squad of soldiers via mouse commands with bright and vibrant graphics, an underlayer of anti-war sentiment in the way the never-ending meat grinder has in-game consequences for your gameplay through ever-changing squad composition with each member that dies. Great animations, sound effects, varied level design, tactical complexity, and responsiveness make this an often undervalued gem. Command & Conquer. The game that took all the lessons learned in Dune 2 and distilled them further, including full motion video cutscenes, improved unit control options like multiple unit selection, general interface and graphical improvements. These standout elements being the campy actors, over-the-top schlocky scenario, inventive near-future tech, and a whole lot of character, replayability, and a multiplayer system that was a rarity at a time when internet was still not omnipresent. Warcraft 2: Tides of Darkness. The game that took D&D type fantasy settings to the RTS genre. Combine that with colorful, cartoony unit sprites, the humorous sound effects prompted by selection clicks and orders, the high-quality cinematics between levels and mission presentations, an excellent expansion beyond the portal, and overall really polished experience, and the Blizzard aura of quality that lasted for quite a long time was then starting to rise. They went from strength to strength pretty much up until StarCraft 2, and well, the rest is history now. Dragon Force. A real mind-bender, this one. A console-based RTS with tactical, character-focused RPG elements. A real-time strategic view overlay mixed in with tactical real-time battles and a turn-based management section in between. Not easy to wrap your mind around that conceptually, but it all just really meshes well together when you play it. The first game was very well received, but the sequel was only released in Japan and only very recently has received a fan-based translation, so all of us non-Japanese speakers can enjoy it fully. The unique mix of mechanics and genres has not been replicated in any other game that I know of, until now at least. The Settlers 2. The quintessential city-building RTS. Oh, the joy of setting up neat little buildings, roads, and intricate supply chains so you can marvel at the constant flurry of activity from all those tiny people that will always bend to your will, for better or worse. Combine that with the different cultures represented, tactics, interesting statistics graphs to analyze, and mull over to try to ever so slightly improve your supply chain designs, building locations, etc., etc. A perfectionist's playground. Z, or Z. In this very funny game that was the zenith of Bullfrog-style parodies, the resource collection aspect of RTSs come into the era and ever since, for the most part, was left by the wayside, and boy, does it really suit the fast-paced, tactics-based approach to each level. Robot armies of varying levels of intelligence will be at your disposal to follow Commander Zed's insane rants in each campaign chapter. Levels will be set in a variety of planets, each with different climates, unit types available to you, and increasingly more difficult strategic situations. It's worth a play just for the hilarious cutscenes between levels. Jeff Wayne's The War of the Worlds. A very overlooked masterpiece based on Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds, which is itself based on H.G. Wells' 1898 novel, The War of the Worlds. This game combines a superb soundtrack by Jeff Wayne, a strategic overview that includes highly original tech trees, territory management options with building and defense setup, resource extraction, and of course, the real-time tactical battles between Martian invaders and human defenders with all those delightfully rendered 3D units. The campiness of the old-timey sci-fi style, of the voiceovers, sound effects, unit designs, and interface really lift the experience to levels not many other games can aspire to.
Greetings, Magistrate.
StarCraft. What Command & Conquer was to the basics of RTS, StarCraft was to the online multiplayer-oriented, asymmetric, unique faction design sci-fi RTS. The incredible variety but tit-for-tat balanced factions and unit types, combined with the scenario-based campaign, with high-quality cutscenes between levels, and competitive online multiplayer scene, made possible with the implementation of the never-before-seen, easy-as-pie BattleNet matchmaking system, made this a must-have game. Age of Empires 2. The second Microsoft go at a civilization like RTS that is bigger and better at pretty much everything when compared to the first in the series. More civilizations, more units, more levels, better graphics, more expansions, everything. The series introduced a particular mechanic, the ages, that allowed players to move through historical periods while in the same map or level, thus unlocking better unit types and buildings progressively in a rudimentary tech tree type system.
Supporting friendly units. Locked on target.
Interceptor complete.
Aggressive tactics confirmed.
Homeworld.
Fire at will.
An aesthetically magnificent game. The first 3D space-based RTS many played. Add to the excellent graphics and equally superb soundtrack. I mean, who can forget the Barber Adagio for strings accompanying the destruction of your home planet, and put in tight, three-dimensional gameplay, an intriguing plot, polished cutscenes, and challenging tactical situations, and you've got a memorable experience on your hands. The sequels, while all at least on the good to very good spectrum, never quite managed the same lightning-in-a-bottle magic balance of a game design structure, though one can look forward to Homeworld 3 due to release for 2022.
From the Abbot, I will soon teach you a valuable lesson, boy.
Stronghold Crusader. This one is for the obsessive-compulsive city builders out there. The sheer addictiveness of design, building, and defending intricate medieval fortifications has never been more enjoyable than here. The HD remake made the game more appealing for new players, for whom the relative low-res original might have been a tad too clunky looking, which means there's no excuse for not playing it now. Ah, damn, I overlooked that one slightly less than perfect firing arc on the Northwest Bastion once again. A complete redesign is in order, my liege. Lord of the Rings, the Battle for Middle-earth. A game based on the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy that is surprisingly good. In fact, I would go as far as saying it's the best movie tie-in RTS game ever made. Everything from the beat-for-beat campaign story, picture-perfect unit models, hero units, sound effects, and special powers. Even if you didn't watch, read, or even like the movies or books, it's an excellent game in its own right. Some might prefer the more is better type sequel, but the youngest sibling has just the right amount of strategy, combat storyline, mission variety, and base building for my taste. Rome Total War, the game that cemented the strategic turn-based overview plus real-time battles style wargame. Although it's the third in the series, it's the one that transitioned into fully 3D unit models with physics simulation at a man-per-man level, leading to, for the time, ultra-realistic in and out of combat behaviors for the units. Though the rather lax historical accuracy can put off more than a few, the core gameplay is as solid and rewarding as ever in Total War games. Furthermore, add in the Europa Barbarorum mod to the mix, and only Medieval 2 Total War with Europa Barbarorum 2 surpasses it in terms of sheer quality, reproducing warfare in classical antiquity. The series has covered many a historical period prior and since this game was released, though I'm still waiting for the Bronze Age and modern timeline entries to the series to make an appearance.
Taking damage. Direct us to the enemy.
Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War. Probably the most beloved and enjoyable Warhammer Universe strategy game. And boy, are there a ton of those around. It was the last of the series to not have been influenced by streamlined MOBA-style gameplay that personally I just have a general allergic reaction to. So we might be in for a very long time before another good one comes around. Total Warhammer entries notwithstanding, as the Total War series already had its entry on the list. So, pick one of the 4 races, collect resources, and prepare for combat on Tartarus. Company of Heroes, a World War II tactical combat-focused type RTS that really managed to capture the essence of warfare in the period and somehow even produced a spin-off movie tie-in for the second entry to the series. That's not something as common as the opposite, a video game tie-in to a movie. The campaign is focused on the Western Front Allied push, but also includes a multiplayer mode. Though nowadays it only works online via Steam, as Relic shut down their matchmaking and Steam does not allow LAN matches. Still, a future classic of the genre, especially for the World War II crowd.
Today we liberate West Berlin from the American oppressor. Only minutes remain until we rain fire on the enemy.
World in Conflict, the spiritual successor to Ground Control. Here you will travel to an alternate reality in which the Soviet Union didn't suffer political collapse, but rather decided to invade Western nations as a last resort. And you have to push back the Red Army advances in the US, Western Europe, and ultimately back into Russia. The expansion actually allows you to change sides and command Soviet forces. The gameplay focuses on tactics rather than base building or resource extraction, and really, the fast pace is very well suited to the overarching theme of a desperate scramble for survival. Sins of a Solar Empire, a RTS / 4X mashup, a sci-fi spacefaring empire building game that provides enough planetary conquest, interstellar exploration, resource exploitation, technological research, diplomatic interactions, and facility construction management to sate one's thirst for galactic glory. While there is no campaign per se, the open sandbox mode and multiplayer are more than enough to keep you glued to your PC for hours on end. Anno 1404. An almost perfect economic simulation city builder centered on a fictional medieval or Renaissance historical setting that will grab your undivided attention. You must have the perfect supply chain to maintain your patrician class at peak efficiency. You just have to. The island hopping, quest missions, building and infrastructure management, and just looking at your townsfolk go about their business is mesmerizing. And the campaigns are pretty good too. Crusader Kings 2. The grand strategy game in which your one-eyed, great pox-infected, paranoid, philanderer ruler could marry his cousin to inherit a neighboring kingdom. Or perhaps they should try to plot an assassination on the Pope in order to favor a weak-willed successor. Or even raise an army, go on crusade or jihad against the infidels and achieve everlasting glory. Or, most likely die of the pox, leaving the kingdom in the hands of an inept, inbred child that will most likely succumb to their power-hungry regent's intent of ascending to the throne themselves. The pleasures of medieval intrigue and complex feudal inheritance laws at your fingertips. Europa Universalis 4. The one game to rule them all. Or at least to rule any of the 500 plus playable nations in a global sandbox environment spanning from the years 1444 to 1821. You want to reforge the Holy Roman Empire with the Teutonic Order? Sure. Want to colonize the New World as Portugal? You got it. Want to resist the waves of conquistadors with the Aztecs? No problem. How about ascending to the rank of shogun after the Sengoku Jidai in Japan? Go for it! You name it, and you can do it in this game. Someone modded in space exploration and caravels by now, right? Off-World Trading Company. A RTS game in which warfare is conducted not while wearing armor and wielding swords, but rather wearing business suits and wielding commodity market prices. Sounds conceptually boring to become a commodities trader, but it really isn't. In fact, it's the most original RTS to have come out in a very long time. Balancing supply and demand, cornering markets, driving your fictional competitors out of business, is as satisfying as blowing them up with howitzers or skewering them with spears. All is fair in love and war, and commodities trading. Last and most recent, but not least, they are Billions. A tower defense meets RTS strategy game set in a zombie apocalypse dystopian future where humanity is barely scraping by and desperately needs your guidance to survive the never-ending onslaught of billions upon billions of zombies. The sheer number of enemies on screen and the constant fear of just a single one getting through your defenses and overwhelming your settlements with an exponential infection wave is always on your mind. your very worried, very stressed, and very overworked mind. They just keep coming. How many zombies are there? Will we make it? Hi Bob. Why do you have that looks on your face? Bob? Oh, no, Bob! Bob! Here follows a short list of honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. Herzog 2, Total Annihilation, Black Moon Chronicles, Evil Genius, and Cossacks 2. And that wraps it up, folks. Leave a comment down below if you think an unforgivable mistake has been made, not including your favorite game on the list, and see you next time.